Luis Fernandes, a pro
Our
staff
calling,
member.
Luis Fernandes. Let's do it.
Well, he's not our pro staff, but he is a pro.
He is a pro angler. We're going to get him on the line. We're going to hear his fish story. We want to hear what...
Warrior headquarters.
All right, perfect. Hey, this is Paul from Outsider Tackle Box radio show and podcast. I got my two good buddies in the studio. We'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves.
Hey, everybody. This is Tom. This is Tommy. And who are you?
What?
What's your name again?
Who are you? You just showed up. You followed me in the door.
Porky pig. That whole
Ebony.
Did you forget your name?
I did forget my name. This is Felix. I just said what's up. Anyway.
So we got Tommy and Felix in the studio. So welcome to the show. We appreciate you sending in the photo. We found you via Instagram at Luis Fernandes, pro angler. So we could talk about your Instagram handle, your tournaments, and all that when we get your fish story podcast over with. But we're spreading happiness to the world through the joys of fishing, and fish stories do just that. We got a ton of listeners around the world. Let's say hello to people in Austria. Tommy, go ahead and say hello to people in Austria.
Hello, people in Austria. How are you?
And then let's go to Ireland.
Why do you always just... I can't switch those two very easily.
Oh, you can't? Okay.
No, those two are
let's
hard.
go to China.
Eventually, they.
Let's
Hold
go
on,
China.
Hold on. I'll do the...
Oh, Hori Mori, that's a big fish. Okay, now let's go to...
Moron.
We're going to
All
hell.
right. I'm driving the bus, apparently. So anyway, Lewis, back to you. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. It's been a busy month. It's actually been a busy year, man. I just got back from the California Delta fishing the FLW event, cashed a check.
Nice.
Day one, I didn't do too good. I was sitting like 85th place in day one. Day two, I just smashed a giant bag and jumped up to 20th place, cashed a check.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Now I'm actually, yeah, thanks. Now I'm actually got the backing up to the boat, and I'm heading to the U.S. Open to Lake Mead, which is a big event. They're paying like $180,000 for first. So,
Oh, man.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped about this one, and then. I mean, it's just this month has been so crazy. I get back from the U.S. Open in 3 weeks, and then the next day I go to Kentucky to fish the FLW Championship. So,
Wow.
I mean, for the next month and a half, I'll be on the road fishing. So,
I wish that was me.
That's the
For
life.
you.
Yeah, poor you. Yeah, I mean, I wish.
Tommy, if you were fishing, who would do the podcast?
Yeah, I would find somebody else to do the podcast so I could fish.
Just
Yeah,
get
the
a
funny
cardboard
story
cutout.
is Tommy has forgotten to wake up for
Yeah,
a couple
there
of the
has been
podcasts,
some-
and so
You don't.
I've seen that. I've seen that on looking through the Instagram. Tommy, you've been late more than a couple times now.
You know, looking this good doesn't happen that easy, so you got to get enough sleep to look this good. So, I mean, that's just my excuse.
there's no way.
That's my problem. I gotta sleep more to look better.
Yeah, Well, welcome to the show. Let's hear that fish story. It looks like a tournament. You're holding up two bass, so we want to hear where you caught those fish, the bait that you were using, and then if you're able to measure it anyway, let's hear what size those fish were.
Yeah, that pick right there. I was at this last tournament at the California Delta, and I was actually running 40-mile run down the river, 40 miles away from the launch. And I was fishing this little back slough. It's a little, only probably the max depth is like 4 foot. And so when you're at the California Delta, you're fishing tide. It's a tidal fishery. So by the time I got down there, that little slough was only like 1.5 feet, 2 foot. And I only had like a 2-hour window before it was negative tide, before I couldn't even get back to these fish.
Oh, man.
So I made it back in that slough, and I was throwing a frog, a little live target copper frog. And if anybody has ever fished a live target copper frog, I mean, they are one of the best frogs out on the market. I mean, the hooks are good. Out of the package, you don't have to do nothing to them. Out of the package, you could just put them on some 65-pound braid and go to work with them, and they are badass. And
Nice.
and those two fish, it was the second day of the tournament, and second cast, that one on the left, I think on the picture, it was a 7, and she just blew up on it. I mean, it looked like she ate the whole grass mat. She toilet flushed that thing, and I caught her, and I went down the bank probably another half hour without a couple of little blow-ups. The mats were so thick that the fish couldn't blow through, the mat and get the frog. So I was looking for the weak part of the mat, like the broken up part, so I could bring my frog across there, and they would make it through that mat. And that's when that second one hit. And then after that, it was. I mean, I had some other good fish with that bag, but after that, in 2 hours, I caught over 20 pounds, and I was out of that slough because I couldn't fish it no more because of the tide. But if I had all day in there, oh man, I could have done some damage. And I think that's what hurt me on day one of that tournament. Is I was almost last boat out, and I had to run 40 miles, and that going 80 miles an hour in a bass boat, that takes a little time, especially if the wind's blowing. And by the time I got down there, it was already negative tide. So I think that's what killed me on day one. Day two, I had a better draw. I got down there, did work in 2 hours, and got out of there, and ended up cashing a check. So I was pretty stoked on that, guys.
That's awesome.
That was a redemption bag right there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I mean, like I said, I wish I was doing what you were doing instead of sitting there stuck between these two morons. But
and you're actually our first active pro angler. We've had one other, but he was retired. Yep. And so we're so happy that we found you. Tell everybody where they can follow your YouTube channel, your Instagram, and anything you got going for Luis Fernandes Fishing.
Right. They could follow me Instagram, Luis Fernandes Fishing. You can follow me through my sponsors, tacklewarehouse.com, iRod Fishing. If anybody out there, if you guys aren't familiar with iRod, especially if you throw swim baits, that's their bread and butter. The iRod rods are so awesome. They are one of the best rods out on the market, especially if you're throwing big swim baits in California.
Nice.
No, there's no other swim bait rod on the market that beats an iRod. So you can follow me through iRod, Tackle Warehouse, Ranger Boats, Mercury, G-Funk A-Rigs. Who am I leaving out? There's just so many of them. P-Line. Yeah. And also follow me through Instagram, Luis Fernandes Fishing. I went away with the Facebook because when you're on the road fishing, you got all these Facebook, Instagram, this, that. It's just so hard to keep up. So I just keep it with Instagram now, and then I just let my sponsors do all the Facebook stuff and all that stuff.
That's probably easier.
But yeah, man. Oh yeah, it is, and it's just like I said, being on the road fishing, and then it's even hard on the family. The family they hardly ever see me in the last 2 months, and now I'm taking off for another month. But they understand it. They support it. So I want to give a shout out to my friends, my family, my girlfriend Katie, my son.
Awesome.
Just because they suffer. They're the ones that do the suffering when I'm gone on the road fishing, and they know it's my passion, and they know it's what drives me. So I just got to give a shout out to them.
Absolutely.
They're the rock.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're definitely the rock.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm a little jealous of you.
He gets to fish all the time, but we could get let's try to be a part of that group of people.
Yeah.
That sponsors Luis Fernandes. It's not every day we get pro angler on the show. So, and today's episode is brought to you by Creature Weights.
Creature Weights by Jenko.
By Jenko Fishing. So we get a ton of people to sponsor the show, including gear. And so we'll try to support you on your fishing journey, and we love that you send us in photos and get to share those stories with with everyone that just enjoys the sport. So it's helping us grow, and we appreciate you coming on and sharing your experiences with us.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate the shout out, guys, and I'm tickled to death to be on your guys' show. I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. I think it's only going to help the industry grow as what I mean. In the last 5 to 10 years, bass fishing and fishing in general has just grown tremendously. I mean, you look at colleges now, and there's bass fishing teams. Could get kids could get a scholarship for bass fishing. I think that's the most awesome thing.
Absolutely,
Oh, it's crazy.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. I mean, for so long, people got, away from the fishing, and it just became like a leisure thing. It wasn't so much of a sport. And you're right. Within the past 5 years, it's made a big time comeback. And
Yeah, Tommy
we're
and
glad to be a part of that.
Our two boys are the same age, and they have a fishing club in their
Yep.
school, and so
And neither of them are a part of it.
they're not.
They're not.
Yeah,
And
it's
that
hard to
saddens
force
me.
your kids to do things, but we're happy
No,
to
it's
see the
not.
sport.
I'll
But
just
they
go
have-
over there and
they
be
have
like,
and
to go
available
home
now.
And see their dads
Right.
dressed
It's
up in
awesome.
a luchador mask and a cowboy hat.
yeah, that's true. They don't want to see their dad dressed up.
I don't blame
So
them.
happy October! We're dressed in costume. Tommy's
Yeah.
a luchador,
That's right.
and for those of you listening live, a luchador is
It's a Mexican
it's a
wrestler.
Mexican
superhero.
wrestler, and they usually have they don't always have their shirts off, but Tommy has a shirt on because our sponsor sent us some
God.
shirts.
If I had my shirt off, I would make a lot of
It'd
people
be a different.
jealous.
It would be a different show.
It'd be a
altogether.
different show. That's true.
And then I'm dressed
Well,
up
we,
as.
we could shave. We could shave sponsors in his hairy chest.
That's absolutely true. You probably
Let's
could.
do it. I love it.
Let's just not say we did.
You know what? How about next
It's
time?
a
I'll
funny
just
image.
no, just
It's a funny image.
Hey, Lewis, guess who's showing up at Lake Mead like that? Anyway, I'll just stand on the sidelines. Woo!
Hey,
Fernandes!
we're the sponsor, and then you're just like waving the shirt. Give me a shout out.
I can't wait. Don't forget the mask.
Yeah. Yeah. The mask will be on because I don't want everybody to know who I am. Who's the chubby hairy guy in the stands? I'm like, I don't know who that guy is. Just I'm taking my boat out. See you later.
Well, we're going to follow your fishing story, and thanks again to your family. We're nothing if we don't have a support group.
Absolutely.
And so, thank you very much to the Fernandes family for allowing this man, this angler, to do what he loves and enjoys, and we're going to be a part of that journey too. So. Keep us updated. We're going to follow. You'll be back on the show, just giving the tournament results, and I think it'd be a good idea. Yeah, we'll have him on as much as he wants to be and has time for, because it sounds like he's traveling quite a bit.
Busy, yeah.
So, but from all, we're going to send you some free gear, and just offline, tell us where to send that, and then from all of us here at Outsider Tackle Box. Radio
lines.
show and
Tight
podcast,
lines,
Tight Lines,
Fish more, bud, and good luck on your upcoming ventures, man.
I appreciate it, Tommy, Paul. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having having a guest on your show.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait for the next time I'm on the show and give you the results and just catch up and talk fishing, because that's what it's all about. Just talking fishing and the passion of fishing and everything to do with fishing. I think you guys are great. You guys are doing good.
Awesome.
And, I appreciate being on the show. And one more thing, I was fishing a tournament this year. When was it? I think it was in April or May at Clear Lake. And I was practicing. It was in practice. To go figure, this was in practice. I couldn't believe it. But I ended up catching a 15-pounder on a swim bait, and I got it on video. So I'm going to send that to you guys.
Absolutely.
And if you could do what you want with it, but it's a 15-pound largemouth. I caught her in practice on a 9-inch Tuttle fin. So I know it was in practice. I was like, why couldn't this be in the tournament?
Yeah.
But it was amazing. So I'll send that to you guys, and thanks again for letting me be on your show, guys. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
Thank
You're
you
welcome
for coming
anytime.
on.
Yeah, pleasure was ours.
All right, bud. Take care.
All right, guys.
Tight lines, man.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
15-pound largemouth?
He got that
Good one.
practice.